So I'm Lynda Call. I'm finishing my 5th year of teaching. All of my 5 years have been here at Deming Cesar Chavez Charter High School. And the way I got here was I was led here throughout my life to get to this point where I am right now. So I was putting out my feelers and I saw the advertisement for Deming Cesar Chavez Charter High School, and it said in their mission statement that they give the students resources to make all of their dreams come true. And I was like, this is the school for me. And I bugged and bugged and bugged and called, and I finally got an interview, and they hired me on the spot. Teaching here at an at-risk high school where, usually when students struggle in school, it's because they struggle with reading. And sure enough, I think it was my 3rd year here that we started using Reading Plus. It could have been my 2nd year. We were dabbling in Reading Plus. We weren't really, we didn't know enough about it to really do it with fidelity. But we realized that, through the assessments, that our students had an average of a 4th grade reading level. And here we are in high school trying to access high school text, reading at a 4th grade level. It was not working well for them. So it was time for me to get my master's degree because I like more money. And I thought, well, what am I going to get my master's in? I mean, the possibilities are endless. You could get it in anything. And I realized I need to get it in reading so I can help these students with their reading. By that time, we were a little more established with Reading Plus. We knew it was a good program. It was working well for the kids that were taking it seriously. But as I started taking these reading classes, I realized that the principles that are in Reading Plus there's the 5 pillars. It covers all of them. Maybe not so much the phonics unless you're adding mind play to it as well. But, it's giving them vocabulary, it's giving them comprehension skills, it's building their fluency. Those are the things that work for reading intervention. And so now I believed in Reading Plus the minute I learned about it. But now as I'm getting more educated, I'm realizing this is it. This is what works. And this school year, the opportunity came up to, there was a need for someone to coordinate the Reading Plus program. And I very quickly volunteered to be that person because I believe in it so much. And I saw ways that we could do it with more fidelity. And so sure enough, I think our big success in this school is that we have all of the teachers doing it. We started out with them just doing it in the computer lab. And then we realized that we needed a period where everybody was doing Reading Plus at the same time. And so each teacher, however many computers you have in your classroom, that's how many students you have in your Reading Plus class during 3rd period. And so we all got a little bit of training. I got more advanced training, and I try to help them. I need to do better, but I think what helps is that they see the value of Reading Plus. And so they are able to help the students as well. And we're all working together. The staff, the students, everyone is all fully embedded. Is that the right word?
Mm-hmm.
That's not
committed.
We're all committed to this. And our administration has also become very committed. They make sure that we don't have distractions during 3rd period. It's like this is our coveted time. We don't mess with it. We don't have assemblies. We don't have announcements. We come in and we do Reading Plus, and it's worked. It works.
How is it changing the students' lives? Oh
man, there's one student from last year that is like my poster child of that. He was very resistant to Reading Plus because he couldn't read. He read at a 2nd grade level. And so I realized he was a senior in high school, and I realized he needs to learn how to read more than he needs to learn nouns and verbs and Shakespeare and whatever else I'm doing in my English classroom. So I gave him the option to use Reading Plus. He would get credit for English 4 by doing Reading Plus, and he said that he would do that. And of course there was, he had to, we have a certain grading system that we use where if they finish all of their stories, we take their percentage, we give them extra points for doing extra stories, we take points away if they didn't do stories, and that's how we do our grading system. And so I said, you'll get a weekly grade, and that weekly grade, well, if it averages out to a passing grade at the end of the year, then you get your credit. If it doesn't, then you don't. And he did, he took it seriously. He wanted to graduate, and he wanted that English 4 credit. So he was faithful with Reading Plus. And at first, I had to kind of nag him a little bit. I would look at his grade for the week, and I would say, look, you're not getting it done. You need to do better. You need to do 2 more stories this week. And I was nagging him all the time. And all of a sudden,
we call that encouraging.
Encouraging. I was encouraging him throughout the week to finish his stories. Well, along about November, probably, I realized that I wasn't having to nag him anymore. That I would look at his progress through the week, and he was doing it himself without me having to encourage.
Independent work.
Yes. And so I then looked at his level, and he had hit level G.
Wow.
And he was kind of a problem in our school. You would see him in the halls a lot. He wouldn't go to class. You'd find him outside. But what I found was once he hit that level G in November,
which is 7th grade level.
7th grade level, we didn't see him in the halls anymore. All of the teachers started commenting on how he was producing in the classroom now.
Really?
He became a whole different kid. Just to talk to him one-on-one, he was just different. And so I asked him, you're so different? Why are you different? And he said, I realized I'm not dumb. I can learn. It made all the difference in the world to him. And we have another student this year that the same thing happened with her. She, when they start in 1st or 2nd grade, realizing that their peers are learning and they're not, because they don't associate it with the fact that I can't read. They just know their peers are learning and they are not. That just snowballs from elementary school into, once they get to our level, it's been 7 or 8 years that they just think they're dumb. And once they learn how to read, they realize they're not dumb.
If they get up to kind of a certain level, then they can start feeling successful. And for him, it was about 7th grade level.
That's about what I'm seeing with
okay, so you're seeing that overall in high school for your high school kids.
Yes.
And do you have others, say 9th graders, that are hitting that? And also, tell us a little bit about hitting the wall as they get further and further up. How do you deal with that?
Okay. Yeah, we definitely see once they get through that fluency level and it's starting to hit their proficiency level, they don't like to do it anymore.
It's hard.
It's hard for them now. They're not reading for pleasure anymore. and the stories get more difficult as well, and longer passages.
With bigger vocabulary.
With bigger vocabulary that they don't know. So this has been a concerted effort for us to help them realize the purpose of Reading Plus. The purpose of Reading Plus is not to entertain you. You're not reading these stories for entertainment. Hopefully it is entertaining to you, but you are building your fluency. You're building your comprehension. That's the purpose. And if you get entertained along the way, that's great. But one thing that I tell them a lot, and it's almost a compromise to my teaching philosophy, but I remind them that those passages that they get on state testing, they're long, certainly not things that they're interested in. And so you're building I like to compare it to a distance runner. So if you're going to do the 3 mile, your first day of track practice, you're probably going to be able to, maybe you can do a lap. If you're in better shape, maybe more, but you certainly aren't going to be fast at doing the 3 mile your first day of track practice. Well, if you keep just doing that 1 lap every day in practice, you're never going to get to where you're able to run that 3 mile successfully in a competition.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to just keep pushing yourself. You have to build and you have to build and build and build. And you're building your stamina. And so once you're able to, right now, I have a lot of students right now during this time of the year where I see them as they're choosing their stories. They're trying to find the shortest story.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of finding something they're interested in, they're trying to find the shortest story. And I tell them that's counterproductive to what Reading Plus is going to do for you. You need to find the ones that you're interested in so that you'll keep reading and just stick with it. You're building your stamina. So that has worked for us to.
So if they've kind of hit the wall, you just encourage them to keep going.
Yes.
Keep going.
Push through it. I use that phrase a lot. You have to push through it. Okay. It's hard right now, but you have to push through it. They get really discouraged when they really hate when they get the first half of the combo and then they mess up and they have to start that combo over again.
Yes.
They really hate that. And I tell them, so now you have to read 2 stories to get a combo. Look at the experience you're going to get from that.
Make it a benefit.
Yeah. If all you did was get 80s and higher, you're still not building your stamina. You're going through it too fast. And so failure leads to success. You start over again, you start that combo over, and now you have 2 stories under your belt.
So you're teaching them some resiliency
yes.
in life, not
yes.
just reading.
Yes. Yes.
And how are they responding to that?
Well, I think part of it, I have a great rapport with the kids.
Yes.
And so they believe me.
Yes.
I'm credible.
Okay, I believe you. Yes.
And they believe me, and
Mm-hmm.
I put it to them in the way, this is helping you. We're not doing this to punish you. We are doing this because reading is important in life, not just in school. This is not just for a grade. You do get a grade for Reading Plus, but this is not just for a grade. You need to be able to read when you get out of high school. Lifelong learning depends on you being able to read. So.
Wow. Now, what would you tell somebody, or I know you'd say it works, but to a superintendent, would you say anything else that in your experience, there's a reason that Reading Plus is, say, better than other things you've tried or you know about?
Yes, and I know a lot. I know a lot of reading programs. I have investigated, I took corrective reading classes, and that's what we did.
Mm-hmm.
We analyzed for cost, for results, and of course when you read results, you're reading whatever that, they do their own studies, and so you're not sure. And I approached Reading Plus in the same way,
Mm-hmm.
What is the cost versus the results? That's what you want. And especially when you're talking to a superintendent.
Yes.
That's what they're going to want. Is it
Cost
worth our
benefit.
money?
Cost
yes.
benefit.
Is it going to be worth it? What I see with Reading Plus is academically, if you know what works with reading intervention, Reading Plus has everything you need. Unless they don't have the phonemic awareness, which, that's a one-on-one thing anyway. You don't want to do that through a computer anyway. But for those that are ready, that have that phonemic awareness, it has everything they need to build their reading. And the thing that I like best about Reading Plus, at least in our area, I don't know if this is true everywhere, but the support is amazing. You and Valerie, anytime I need anything, you're right there to come and help us. But beyond that, there's the live chat that you can go to. I was using it when you walked in the door. I was live chatting with someone for one of my students. The support is amazing, and the system works. And I'm not on the cost side of it. I don't know how much it costs. I couldn't even tell you how much it costs. But I know that our school is willing to pay because it works, and we've seen that it works.